Hey, it's me again. We're doing a bit of a different video today than usual. I've got no doubts that you've all heard of iceberg charts before. Essentially just a big list full of information on a certain topic, getting more and more obscure the further down it goes. Now I've always wanted to make one of these videos, but could never settle on a subject for it, until just recently finding this amazing Doom iceberg from out of context boomer shooters on Twitter. The original post will be linked in the description so you can go give them a follow. Hope you're ready to learn, cause here we go. Doom was downloaded more than Windows. This was pretty self-explanatory. In 1995, Doom was installed onto more computers than Microsoft's Windows 95, which is kinda crazy to think about. Like, imagine a game selling more than Windows nowadays. Like, Windows 10 has over twice the sales of the best-selling game of all time, Minecraft. So Doom selling more than Windows back then was pretty nuts. John Romero's head. I think most people know about this one. Doom 2's final boss, the Icon of Sin, is actually just id Software co-founder John Romero's head on a stick. And reversing the demonic speech at the start of the level reveals that it says, "To win the game you must kill me, John Romero." Killing the head with rocket explosions triggers the level to end and plays a loud screaming effect. Daisy. Daisy is simply the name of Doomguy's pet rabbit from the first Doom game, and it's the infamous head on the stick at the end of episode 3. Rest in peace. Unmaker, Doom 64. The Unmaker is never actually named in Doom 64. Picking it up just says, "What the is this?" It wasn't officially given its name until its reappearance in Doom Eternal. It's a weird weapon. It starts off pretty whatever, but leveling up with the hidden demon keys is just downright overpowered. Not even the final boss survives for more than a few seconds. Zero Master. Zero Master is a Norwegian Doom speedrunner and probably the first name you'd think of when thinking Doom speedrunning. He was the first person to achieve a lot of cool things in these games, like the first UV pacifist run of Underhalls, the first successful 100% Ultra Nightmare run of Doom 2016, and much more. Doom clones. Doom clone was just a name for first-person shooters in the early 90s before that name came around. Any new shooter was just labelled as a Doom clone, no matter how different it was. However, this name started to die out around the time that Quake was coming out. Armoured Mancubus. I was a bit confused by this one at first, but I think it's just referring to how when Doom 2016 came out, the Mancubus had a wildly different look to how it looked in Doom 2, with the most notable change being that it now had armour. This was changed back to how God intended them to look in Doom Eternal 4 years later. Unmaker, Doom 1. The Unmaker was never in the first Doom game, obviously, but it was kind of planned to be. The Doom Bible, which was the original design document for the series, and much different than the final release, talked about a demon tech weapon made of bones called the Unmaker. The idea was scrapped and didn't see the light of day again until Doom 64's release. Infinitely tall enemies. Because Doom is a weird 2D, 3D hybrid game, most versions of the game give the monsters hitboxes that stretch up to infinity, meaning that you can't go over the top of them. But a lot of modern source ports like GZ Doom remove this. I personally like playing without the infinitely tall monsters, but let me know what you think. Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3. This is a small arcade game that can be found in the first level of Doom 3. It's an arcade cabinet inspired by Street Fighter Alpha 3. What do you do in this game? Punch turkeys. Crazy, I know. This game also made a reappearance as an Easter egg in Doom 2016. SRB2. SRB2, or Sonic Roboblast 2, is a Sonic fan game running on a modified version of the Doom engine, and which has been in active development since 1998. Pretty wild. It's hard to even believe that this is Doom because it's so much different. It's actually pretty good too. I'd recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Pacifist Run. UV Pacifist is one of Doom's 15 million different speedrunning categories and is pretty self-explanatory. You need to go through the level without personally killing any demons. Some of these levels are pretty complex to do Pacifist and weren't complete until very recently. My personal favourite Pacifist run is in E2M8 where you need to use the weird collision logic to freeze the Cyber Demon and slowly use the surrounding Lost Souls to kill it over a course of about 10 minutes. Amazing. Wolfenstein level. Doom 2 features 2 secret levels, both of which being homages to id Software's earlier shooter series Wolfenstein. They're ripped from Wolf 3D's E1M1 and E1M9 respectively, with a Cyber Demon replacing Hans Gross at the end. Unfortunately, if you're playing the most recent Bethesda release of Doom 2, these levels are barely even Wolfenstein anymore. No unique music, no Nazi imagery, and no SS guards. Which is fair enough, but you're also still releasing Wolfenstein games, so what do you gain from removing all the elements from these levels? Master Levels. The Master Levels for Doom 2 is an expansion pack released by id Software in 1995, which contains 21 new levels for Doom 2. And if I'm being honest, these aren't that good. I don't think that's all that controversial to say, but Jesus, these aren't the best levels. Some of them are okay, but most of them are either bad or just nothing. Honestly, I don't see a reason to play this expansion when Final Doom and No Rest for the Living are right there. DOOMGUY Toys. I assume this is just talking about the official Doom merchandise that's become more common recently. There's a lot of pretty cool ones here, but yeah, that's about all I have for this part. Cheat codes. Doom has a lot of cheat codes accessible by just typing them in while playing, and they're all pretty iconic. IDKFA gives you all keys and weapons, IDDQD activates God mode, idClip lets you walk through walls, IDCLEV lets you change the level you're on, etc, etc. Hell. I think this is referring to how Hell is a major aspect of the Doom franchise. All the monsters you fight come from Hell, and you visit there quite a few times in all the games. The second game in the series is even called Hell on Earth. Christian symbolisms. Doom obviously has a lot of references to Christianity. I mean, it's literally the Hell Demon game, why wouldn't it? The main example I can think of is the infamous inverted crucifix at the start of E2M1. Can it run Doom? A very popular phrase in the Doom community. Due to the game's age and simplicity and the fact that its source code has been around for forever now, it's only natural that Doom is playable on pretty much every device known to man. Like a piano, a pregnancy test, Windows Notepad, and even an Xbox 360. Technology is incredible. Mother Demon. The final boss of Doom 64. I don't have a clue what this thing is, but it's kinda cool and I like it. The fight itself is pretty whatever. You fight a massive enemy gauntlet before she is released. She's pretty tricky, weird attack patterns, but it's not too bad. And if you have all 3 demon keys and the Unmaker, you can be done with this fight in about 5 seconds. DOOMGUY is gay. He loves men. Can't get enough. Unused Doom 1 weapons. Doom 1 had quite a few weapons that got scrapped for the game released. They can still be found in prototype builds of the game. The 0.2 prototype for Doom has these unused icons, some of which appear to just be holdovers from Wolf 3D like the knife, pistol, machine gun. Other notable things here are the missile launcher, which is clearly using the design that would later go on to be the plasma rifle, the Unmaker, the Dark Claw, and the Projectile. The weapons that more people are aware of, however, appear in the later prototype build, like the assault rifle, which can still be seen on all DOOMGUY sprites, even in the final version, the bayonet, which would let you stab enemies, and the machine gun. While not unused, I do want to mention the pre-release BFG while I'm here. The BFG is iconic. It fires a big green ball and a bunch of invisible tracers that kill everything in sight. But as late as the press release beta, it acted much differently, firing out a load of green and red pellets, and it was pretty terrible, and I'm glad it got changed. John Romero is the icon of sin. Now, we've already gone over how the head is what's behind the icon of sin, but I think this entry is referring to how the head itself is the boss fight. The icon of sin is just a wall texture, and John Romero's head is the actual thing that the player needs to destroy. Chex Quest. Chex Quest was a game made on the Doom engine in 1996 that was given away with Chex cereal. It's a non-violent total conversion of Doom where you zorch the Fleamoids back to their home planet instead of killing them with a gun. The best part is that this game's actually pretty good, and it even got 2 sequels and a full-on Unreal Engine remake in 2020. H-Doom is canon. Alright, I don't really want to get too much into what H-Doom is because I'd rather this video not get taken down, but essentially it's a mod where you can get a bit frisky with the monsters, and I suppose it's canon. DOOMGUY and Isabel. In 2020, Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizons had the exact same release date, so there was a big wave of fan art of the two characters together, even being referenced by the Doom Twitter account and the DOOMGUY Smash costume reveal trailer. Doom movies. Like other popular video games, Doom got a couple of movies, and they suck really badly. Doom from 2005 stars Carl Urban and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, because of course it does. And it has very little to do with Doom 3, which it was based on, and it was a commercial failure, unsurprisingly. But they did make another one back in 2019, Doom Annihilation, and I haven't seen this movie, but I have no doubts that it probably sucks also. Reused sprites. I was a bit confused about this one, but after thinking about it, I assume this is just talking about how a lot of the monster sprites in these games are amalgamations of other sprites. Like how zombie men are just recolored Doom guys with hand-drawn heads, shotgunners are just recolored bald zombie men, chain gunners are just stretched out shotgunners with hand-drawn weapons, Hell Knights are just brown barons, pain elementals are an absolute abomination, it's a cacodemon body, imp arms, and what looks like partial invisibility for the eye. Mancubus fireballs are lost souls without the skull. I could be here all day talking about this. Doom cameos. Doom being as popular as it has made several cameos in games, movies, and TV shows. Some examples being this dead Doomguy in Duke Nukem 3D, Doomguy as a playable character in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, Stewie Griffin killing an imp in Family Guy, and best of all is Apu Doom minigame in the Simpsons Virtual Springfield PC game. Daisy apparitions. In Doom Eternal, you can encounter multiple apparitions of Daisy, and there are theories that suggest this is Doomguy's imagination, fueled by guilt for not saving her. Duke Nukem Easter egg. I already briefly touched on this, but essentially in Duke Nukem 3D's level 3, there's a button that opens a door behind this cross. Go behind it and you'll find the Doomguy dead on the ground. Doom was initially a D&D game. It's a relatively well-known fact now that the original inspiration for the Doom series came from a D&D game at id Software, where demons from hell invaded Earth. D&D's Beholders and Astral Dreadnoughts were also the inspiration behind the game's cacodemons. TNT Evolution was actually a spelling mistake. TNT Evolution is the first half of Final Doom, and I always thought that the spelling of Evolution was just a cool play on words, like it's evil and evolution. But no, it's actually just a misspelling of the word evolution, and the more you know. Doomguy is a demon. There's a theory that simply speculates that the Doomguy is also a demon, but from what I've seen, there isn't much evidence backing this up, and personally, I don't buy it. Cheating speedrunners. Doom is one of the most popular games to speedrun as it practically invented it. And like any other popular speed game, it's had a big number of cheaters. Due to the way that Doom speedruns are recorded, being that you record the inputs and play them back through your own game to watch them, it's pretty easy to tell when one is faked. There's a really good video by Carl Jobs on this subject, so I'd recommend you watch that. Doomguy is Texan. In Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, it said that Doomguy's hometown is Mesquite, Texas, which is where id Software was headquartered. Doom 3 Shotgun Backlash. Your shotgun is always your main weapon in Doom. It makes a pistol obsolete, it's pretty efficient at killing mostly anything, and you're never really going to run out of ammo for it. It's one of the best guns in any game ever. And then in Doom 3, it kinda sucks. It's slow, doesn't do all that much damage compared to the original shotgun, and safe to say people were not happy. And it's still an issue that's still discussed to this day, over 18 years since it came out. Doom RPG. Doom RPG was a mobile game released in 2005. It's a pretty weird game. It follows a similar story to Doom 3, uses modified Doom 2 sprites, and has a lot of new stuff that was never really seen again. It's pretty good. And it's quite unfortunate that it and its sequel aren't really the easiest to get a hold of anymore, being old Java phone games. Hump Your Mom. This refers to the infamous sound produced by the Mancubus before it attacks in Doom 2. It sounds like this. And many people have tried interpreting what it means. John Romero says that it says mena blana blah, but what is most commonly heard is an insult towards the player's mother. And in case you were wondering what it actually is, it's an edited stock sound effect of a squealing pig. Doom PS1 Ambience. The PS1 port of Doom is easily the best port of this era, but there is one big difference here that isn't in the original: the ambience. This game goes for a much creepier feel compared to the original. New and scarier sound effects, the classic music is replaced with haunting ambient tracks, and there's a lot of new lighting. Some people may not like this, but I'm personally a big fan. It's a fun new spin on a game I've played thousands of times, and it's just different enough of an experience to be fresh. Doom 3 XMAS. I'm pretty sure it's just referring to the XMAS mod for Doom 3, which is a mod where you need to retrieve Christmas presents from the demons, a load of new maps, 8 new weapons, and a whole lot more. If I'm ever willing to play Doom 3 again, then I'll absolutely check this mod out. Doom 3 is canon. Now, I thought this would be a pretty obvious thing, but apparently there's some debate about this. Some people think it isn't canon, some people think it is, but the most popular theory I've seen is relating to this issue is that Doom 3 is canon, just in its own separate universe and not canon to the rest of the game, which I could agree with. Commander Keen level. Commander Keen was one of id Software's first ever series, and it was a family-friendly platformer series, not what you expect of them. And there are 4 Commander Keens hanging at the end of Doom 2's secret map 32, and you need to kill all of them to exit. According to John Romero, the hanging Keens were artist Adrian Carmack's form of revenge for having to work with the series' cutesy art style for so long, when he preferred the darker Doom style of art. Doom 3DO port development hell. I already kinda went over this in an ancient, crusty video, but I'd recommend you don't go watch that. Doom has a lot of ports, and the 3DO port isn't a very good one. But there's actually a reason for that. It has the same shortened and missing levels as the older Jaguar port, and it runs so unbelievably terrible that the full screen mode was only accessible via cheat code, because it was developed by one person in 10 weeks. The people higher up were under the impression that porting a game was as simple as taking the PC version and cramming it into the console, so because of that, sole developer Rebecca Heinemann was given a copy of the PC game and images of the characters. That's it. That's all she had to work with in this 10-week deadline. So it's pretty easy to see how this god-awful port came to be. Not to mention that before they even had a developer or started work on the project, Art Data Interactive had promised new levels, new weapons, and new monsters. I'd like you to guess how much of that promised stuff made it in. Resurrection of Evil is canon. This is a similar story to the Doom 3's canon entry, so I won't go into it too much. Resurrection of Evil is an expansion for Doom 3, so I'm of the belief that it is canon, just not in the main series. Human Samuel Hayden. This entry is just referring to the fact that Samuel Hayden from the modern Doom games was once human. He was the chairman of the UAC before taking on his cyborg form. Doom 3 and Doom 64 happen at the same time. I could find literally nothing for this one. If I had to guess, I'd assume that there's a theory that these two games take place at the same point on the timeline. The Doom 3 Alpha was scarier. Doom 3 leans much more into the horror aspect than the other games in this series, but the alpha of the game was significantly more quiet and creepy. I'd personally compare it to something like the Half-Life 2 betas. Cthulhu references. Not specifically Cthulhu, but there are several references to H.P. Lovecraft's work in this series, specifically in the novels. Doom Comic. The Doom Comic is a 16-page comic book released in 1996, based on Doom 1 and 2, and while not well received when it came out, it's gained a bit of a cult following over time. The comic has been referenced many times throughout the series. Most of DOOMGUY's lines went on to be used as achievements in the Xbox Live version of Doom 2, I personally love this comic because it's just so stupid and over the top, I can't help it. Life Sphere Icon was a one-up. In the pre-release versions of Doom, it worked a lot closer to Wolfenstein 3D than the Doom that we know and love. One of the most notable things carried over from that game being a life system. The player had a number of lives in the status bar that would send you back to the start of the episode when you ran out. And the item that we now know as the Supercharge or Soul Sphere originally served as a one-up, adding an additional number to your account. Nazi sign cut Easter egg. In E1M4 of Doom 1, there was a swastika in this room, meant as an homage to Wolfenstein 3D, but it was changed to a more generic symbol in version 1.4 so that the game wouldn't be banned in Germany. Columbine.wad. Okay, I'm gonna need to tread around this one lightly because it's a bit of a rough subject. Eric Harris was one of the main shooters involved in the Columbine School Massacre, and he was also a Doom fan. He has created several levels for the game that are still available online. One of these is rumoured to be a recreation of the school where the shooting took place, but nobody knows for sure. It is considered lost media, and if it is real, I'm sure it will be found someday. I've also played one of his levels, UAC Labs, and it kinda sucked. Doom novels. There was a series of novels based on the Doom series between 1995 and 2009. I can't say much here as I haven't actually read them, but they are one of the few pieces of media to name the Doom guy. He's called Flynn Taggart in the book, and the name still gets referenced occasionally. Unused Archvile sprites. For Doom's 21st birthday, John Romero released a whole load of unused and prototype Doom sprites, one of which being the original model that was used for the Archvile sprites. They look quite a bit different in the final game, looking a bit more muscular and with a bit more texture to the face and forehead. Dead Marine sprites are traced off of real gore. There wasn't too much I could find for this, but if I were to guess, then I think there's a theory out there that these sprites for the dead Doom guys are traced from real life corpses. I don't believe it though. Beta Revenant sprite. Similar to the Archvile situation but more noticeable, the pre-release version of Doom 2 featured different sprites for the beloved Revenants, but instead of using the nice cleaned up scans for the sprite like every other Doom sprite, it just used the scans directly from the camera, and my god did they look pretty crusty and terrible. This was changed for the final version thankfully to be much cleaner and also adding the red goop all over its body, and it looks so much better. Doom RPG's interpretation of the BFG acronym. It's pretty common knowledge, but if you didn't somehow know, the BFG's name stands for Big F***ing Gun, which is a pretty fitting name. And in Doom RPG it says, "We'd tell you what this stands for, but this is an E-rated game," confirming that the acronym from the original Doom games is canon. Creepy moving wall texture. This is just referring to that one texture from the original Doom games that creeped out a lot of people, and I can see why. There's a bunch of screaming souls that slowly scroll forever. A bit creepy. Doom 3 board game. There was a board game based on Doom 3 that came out in 2004. Not much else to say really, I've never played it, but it looks stupidly complex and I'd probably hate it. There's also a board game based on Doom 2016. The Marines in Doom 1, 2 and 3 are separate people. It's pretty clear that the classic game's Doom guy and the third game's Doom Marine are totally different people, but I really don't think Doom 1 and 2 have separate Marines. I found one theory that suggests this, but it's really far-fetched and I don't buy it. The Doom Slayer can feel the demon's feelings. In the modern Doom games, it's confirmed that the Doom Slayer can absorb the souls of any demon he kills, so it would make sense that he can also sense their emotions. Sigil is canon. Sigil is John Romero's unofficial 5th episode of Doom 1, and it's unofficially considered a part of the Doom canon, though Bethesda and id Software have never said anything on this. Doomguy is actually killing people who have sinned. Since the monsters you fight come from hell, which in Christianity is where sinners go when they die, it's possible that some of the monsters were once people who have sinned. The hanged corpse sprites are based off of Mussolini and his followers. These goddamn sprites. I always felt like there was something off about them, because these really feel so out of place for the Doom art style, but it's heavily speculated that these sprites are based off the images of Mussolini's body after he died. And I mean, after looking at the images that I won't show here, it definitely seems to be this way. Very creepy. Brutal Doom's creator is a sociopath. Brutal Doom is one of the most popular mods for Doom. A complete overhaul of the gameplay, new weapons, tweaked maps, new enemies and enemy AI, among many other things. There's a massive Reddit post that I'll link in the description, but long story short, it claims that Sergeant Mark, Brutal Doom's creator, is a racist, misogynist, egotistical neo-Nazi and of course a sociopath, who has done numerous things like encourage mentally ill people to commit suicide, and use actual real gore videos in his mod. I'm not going to get too into this, so if you want to know more then I'd recommend checking out the original post. John Romero is Doomguy. It was revealed that the iconic image of the Doomguy on the original box art was actually John Romero. They had hired a male model to come in for a photo shoot to do the image, but it just wasn't working out, so Romero did it himself. The image was then recreated by Dunn Punchatz to make the iconic artwork that we all know and love. The Makers are demons and Urdak is just another hell. In Doom Eternal, Urdak is the series' interpretation of heaven, and the Makers are angels. There's a theory that suggests the opposite, that it's actually just a different hell. I don't personally believe this, but it's a cool theory. Hell's leader is now the Doomslayer. I couldn't actually find anything from this one. I'm assuming it's just a theory, but who knows. I suck at making maps. This is a texture that can be found in Doom 64 which reads, I suck at making maps. I have no clue what it means, but hey, it's kinda cool. Deity's appearances in Doom Eternal are the Doomslayer's hallucinations from grief. I already talked about this theory all the way back in Tier 2, but as a refresher, you can see Daisy several times in Doom Eternal and it's speculated that these are the Slayer's hallucinations from grief from being unable to save her. The UAC is a greedy corporation. The UAC is the main science company in the Doom universe, and they're always usually the ones responsible for bringing the demons into our world. They keep trying to harness Hell's power to make stronger and stronger weapons, but it usually fails, which to some could be seen as greedy. Humans are all Martians. In the Doom universe, there are a lot of humans who live on Mars, so it's very possible that quite a few people were born there, thus making them Martians. But it's also shown that most people still live on Earth, so this isn't true. Doomguy's family. In Doom Eternal, this image can be seen, which was speculated on what exactly it was until the game's director, Hugo Martin, confirmed that this was Doomslayer's wife and child before they got killed during the demon invasion. Doom 4 marks the end of Earth and demons take over Urdak in Eternal. Literally everywhere is hell now. This is the theory that everywhere in the Doom universe is hell now because of the demon invasions. Doomguy is simultaneously Satan and Jesus. This is a theory made by Saturn. Since Doomguy had absorbed part of Davoth's power, by killing Davoth he is like Jesus fighting Satan, but he is simultaneously Satan due to him having a little bit of Davoth inside of him. Doomguy will eventually kill his wife and son without knowing it. Another theory from Saturn. Since Urdak was corrupted by Hell, it's very possible that the Slayer's dead family were transformed into demons, meaning he probably killed or will kill them at some point. And that's going to do it for the Doom Iceberg. I had a really good time making this video and I hope you enjoyed it too. Remember to go check out all the people listed in the description for their massive help with this video. And let me know if you want to see more longer videos like this one. Okay, bye.